time? Somebody say next time. Next time this year, I'm going to give you and Sarah a son. The Bible says that Sarah was listening from behind the tent door. When she heard what the Lord said, she laughed within herself. She had so cried her faith to sleep so that even when the prophetic came to visit, she wouldn't even come out of the tent. Instead, she stood in the curtain of the tent. Sarah had stopped having hot flashes. She'd been waiting so long that Abraham was long in the tooth. I told you, Stella was never going to get her groove back, and she didn't want to get that groove back. 50 years of showing up at the nail salon. 50 years of snickering and people looking at her but saying nothing. 50 years of taking the test and every time it comes back negative. 50 years of buying maternity clothes and low-heel shoes and nursing bras and practicing that walk with her. You know how you put your hand in your back like that. 50 years of waiting. She had hit the snooze button on her biological clock. Sarah was hiding out. Bible says she stayed in the tent, but she was in hearing range. That's a good thing to understand. When you are in hearing range, God can send a word that can encourage you in the midst of your challenge. She stayed in the tent. But the Bible says she heard her name being mentioned in conversation. Isn't it amazing how God's voice can reach you? God can get you within hearing range. I know I'm right because God's voice can go in a gutter. God's voice can go in a hospital room. God's voice can walk up in a bar. God's voice can go in a jail cell. God's voice can walk up in a crack house. His voice can reach in a tent of despair, disappointment, and depression. Every one of us will have a tent experience. Your tent might not be tied down with ropes to the ground, but a tent in a spiritual sense is a place where you wind up where you didn't think you would be. Sarah was in the tent, but the Bible says she could still hear. And when the heavenly visitor said to Abraham, "Where is your wife?" He replied, "Oh, she's over there." Somebody holler in the tent. You see, the thing that I love about God is that God didn't even have to call Sarah out, but he sent the word in, because the word will find you wherever you are. Because David said, if I make my bed in hell, God is there. If I take the wings of the morning and reach and ascend to the uttermost parts of the earth, God is there. God was just trying to tell a little old lady, and God just wants to speak into somebody's spirit this weekend. After all you've been through, whatever you've been waiting on God to do, God says, I'm still gonna do it. Don't worry about what it looks like. Don't worry about what the circumstances are. Don't even worry about what people say. God says, I'm going to do exactly what I promised I'm going to do. The Lord said to Sarah, this time next year, I'm going to give you a son. And when Sarah heard what the Lord said, the Bible says that she laughed out loud. Some of y'all have been laughing for a long time.